8th grade and 6th grade, you guys are going to have the same videos for a few things this week because we're going to be doing a similar unit just with different levels of difficulty. As you can see, if you look at the page I have up here for you, I have assigned for you all of your work for this week as of today, but you only do one lesson per day. I'll be posting the video that goes with it every morning, but if you're already trying to do like next Friday's work, you need to slow down and just do one day at a time because the videos are going to be an important part of it. The way that this is going to work is that each day you're going to have a video, again, with me talking and teaching you information, and you're going to use this worksheet that's on your classwork document to take your notes and to fill everything in. It's going to be due by midnight of the night that it's due. So if you look up here, guys, this one is for 4/6, so that's for today. That means that this worksheet is due at midnight today. All the other worksheets are due on their date at midnight of that night, and we cannot be working ahead again because you won't have the video. All of our work at this point in time is going to be 100% online, so also please be mentally prepared for that. The first thing we're going to do in our lesson today is I'm going to give you the correct answers for last week's vocab and then give you your new vocab activity. And then we are going to learn some brand new material about writing our own personal narratives. I'm going to start by going over the 8th grade vocab words. It's only 10 answers, so it will be quick. And then I'll quickly go over the 6th grade ones. You can fast forward a little bit over the grade that is not you. So starting with 8th grade, page 142, numbers 1 through 10. Your answers are milieu, pert, outlandish, shiftless, decoy, gallantry, tainted, mediate, regaled, and belated. Your classwork for today is going to be page 143, antonyms. 6th graders, your answers to last week's activity, 142 synonyms. Ingrained, distort, parody, meteoric, prevails, rend, burly, replenish, grit, and vandalism. So please remember now, both grades, you guys are doing antonyms for Unit 11. Next up, okay, so looking at the worksheet, you should have already answered your do now question by writing in complete sentences in here. When you do the vocabulary, you're going to highlight this sentence in this area, and you're going to make it green to show me that you're finished it. And now we're going to move on down here. We're going to use this video to learn about narrative writing. A narrative is a type of writing that tells a story. And there are 3 main types of narratives that people write and that people create. So we're going to start off with the one that we're going to be doing, a personal narrative. As you can see right here, a personal narrative is when a writer shares a true story from his or her life. An example right here we have is, when I was 2 years old, I decided that spaghetti and meatballs were much more fun to play with than to eat. It is a short, true story from your life, okay? Number 1, personal narrative. Type number 2, biographical narrative. This is when a writer shares a true story from another person's life. So for example, it says, Grandma always said that Grandpa loved his first car, his yellow mutt, his country, his son, and his wife in exactly that order. A biography is telling someone else's life story. And then finally, we have a fictional narrative, which is what our mystery stories were. Oops. And that is when a writer tells an invented story. Short stories and novels are examples of fictional narratives. And here we have a little mini example. After 3 years, 2 months, and 8 days of travel, the space module finally reached its destination. The weary crew members were sick of each other's company. A few of them secretly were hoping for an alien greeting party. I can't see the words behind the screen, so I'm just guessing. So those are your 3 types of narratives, guys. Personal, biographical, and fictional. Now, our mini lesson that we're going to do about narratives today is here on page 26. We're going to briefly discuss point of view. Narratives require a point of view, which is the perspective from which a story is told, right? The perspective. So we have options. we have the option of using first person. First person point of view is when the character is telling the story and they're using first person pronouns, which are I, me, my, and we. First person is when the narrator is in the story, okay? Then we have third person. Third person is when the narrator is kind of outside of the story. I usually imagine as that the narrator is standing back with binoculars, watching the story, seeing everything that's going on, okay? So your options are third person limited or third person omniscient. Let's read third person limited first. Third person limited is when the narrator is not a character in the story. The narrator can share what one character is thinking or feeling by using third person pronouns. She was feeling blank. They did this, them and he, okay? Now, third person omniscient is when that narrator is all-knowing. Omniscient means all-knowing, and I think of this as if like God were telling a story. It would be third person omniscient. God would know our thoughts and all of our motivations and things like that. So reading along on this text, the narrator is not a character in the story. The narrator knows what many of the characters are thinking and feeling, and the narrator will use third person pronouns like he, she, they, and their. Some important tips for us to consider, because point of view is one of the most critical parts of being a strong writer and of writing narratives. Our first tip, a personal narrative describes the events that have happened to you. Therefore, you should use first person. So we're going to be writing stories that happen to us. So we're going to use first person, which means we're going to use I, me, we, and my. All right. If you're doing a fictional or a biographical narrative, you could choose either first or third person narrators, depending on what you would like to do. Sometimes it's interesting to try multiple point of views out on the same story to see how it's different. Now, this is the time that if we were in class together in real life, somebody would raise their hand and they go, oh, Miss Carol, call on me. What's second person? Second person point of view is something that's really complicated. You will learn about it in high school, but if you would like a little extra credit, you can write me a Google, an email or a Jupyter message telling me what it is, and I will give you extra credit points. Let's scroll down and let's look at this example. Alyssa was assigned a narrative. She decided to write a personal narrative about the first time that she saw her dog, Marley. Alyssa wrote the one on the left from her own point of view and the one on the right from Marley's point of view. So let's start off with the one on the left, which is Alyssa's first person point of view. I got Marley on my 7th birthday. My parents handed me a big box with a red bow. The lid had little holes in it. Oddly, the box seemed to be moving. I eagerly opened it to find the cutest, most cuddly puppy. I adore him. What are some of the reminders that that is first person point of view? Correct. You see I, my, we, me, right? That tells you. Now let's look at Marley's perspective. Look how they've got the cute little dog telling the story over here and the girl telling it over here. I will never forget the day that I met my girl, Alyssa. She squealed when she saw me, and that scared me a bit, and it made me squirm out of her arms. But then she scratched me behind the ears, just the way that I like, and I knew she was the girl for me. I licked her hands to thank her, and they were yummy, just like the food that Alyssa calls chicken nuggets. I was a lucky dog, right? So that's interesting. It's both first person point of view, but point of view of the person versus point of view of the dog. That will be a fun thing for you to do when we start telling our stories, determining whose point of view you'd like to tell it from. What you're going to do now to finish up your lesson is you're going to go to your classwork. You're going to click where it says Nearpod. You're going to select the Nearpod, and it's going to give you a self-paced Nearpod about a crazy house. It is a virtual reality Nearpod, so you will be able to look around at things. But you are going to get in here and you are going to practice narrative writing. And then Nearpod is going to send me your work and your score after you're done. Anything that's done with a partner, I'd like for you to do by yourself or call a friend. But you are going to write a narrative about this crazy setting right here and what's going on in your fictional story, okay? Make sure that you turn it in. You have to click turn in after you finished everything, and make sure you send me a message. I'm going to be grading you every single day on the work that was due midnight the night before. So Tuesday morning, I will grade Monday's work, and I'm going to be giving you a grade for if you are contacting me via Jupyter and things like that. I want you to really encourage your friends to make sure they're communicating with me, and I want you to encourage yourself to do that as well. And really do your best to follow the instructions here on our mini worksheet for today. That is all that I have for you. I hope you have an amazing day. And if you need me for anything, please feel free to let me know. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.